So it's day 100. You can't tell because it's not being, you can't see the time, but this is being posted in the evening because I worked all day today. I clopened. Closed yesterday, opened today. Uh, so yeah, I haven't worked days in a while, so it was interesting being back on days. But yeah, it makes for a boring video for day 100. Sorry. I'm making dinner now. Nothing exciting. Pasta, nothing worth showing. Just pasta, cheese, butter, milk. Basic pasta. So, yeah, that's. I wish day 100 was more exciting, but it isn't. So, yeah, I might talk a little bit about Lucifer later. We'll see. Season 5 drop. Bear with me. I don't know if there's going to be spoilers. Because I'm just going to be kind of talking about the characters in general, and kind of why I think I've grown such an attachment to Lucifer, I guess is the best way to put it. So I don't think there'll be any spoilers from season 5, but I can't guarantee that there isn't. So just a heads up that there might be. So, because I'm just gonna talk. I'm not gonna try to censor myself in any way to avoid spoilers. So, consider this a warning, and I'll also put the warning in the description of the video if I do have any spoilers. I might put it anyway, even if I don't. Just the potential of it. We'll see. But yeah, heads up. So yeah, but I mean, I'm so far behind on my videos anyway that this might not be posted. It's Monday, and this might not be posted. Like I think I'm a week behind on posting my videos at this point. I probably am gonna post like Friday's video. I think that's when Fridays, because that was the reactions. I might post that sooner than all the others just because I kind of really want those out there. Because it was funny. It was funny for me anyway. You get to see a different side. You get to see my fangirling obsessed side. Like very clear, like, you know, unfiltered. So, yeah, that'll be cool. I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve, like big time. Like when I don't shy away from my emotions. I think that's one of the benefits of anxiety. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what that is. So, maybe catch you later. Maybe catch you tomorrow. Again, tomorrow will probably be another one like this one because I again work during the day, and I don't know if I'll be able to get out of bed early enough that I can film. It'll probably just be like, get out of bed, get ready, go type of thing. We'll see. Anyway. Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while. Yeah, I guess, you know, I tend to be somebody who, when I really appreciate something or really enjoy something, I really explore it deeply. Whatever that may be. Obviously, in this case, it's Lucifer. And one of the things that I've discovered over the past 4.5 years or so is that one of the reasons I think that I and other people really enjoy Lucifer, and why it kind of speaks to me on a different level than other TV shows may have, is because the characters, the depth of the characters are so relatable, despite some of them being celestial. There's still something innate in them that you can relate to, and that's one of the things over the past 4.5 years, you know, situations have arise in my own life. And I'll watch an episode of Lucifer and I'll be like, yeah, that's exactly what that feels. I get what that character is going through. So I just kind of wanted to share, kind of go into more depth with that, kind of share what the different characters, how I relate to the different characters. I won't mention any of the characters' names, although I think it'll be pretty obvious who they are anyway. But just because it's kind of reflective of me in different parts of situations that have arisen in my life, things that I'm going through now. Different things like that. So I took notes because even when I give speeches, I don't write out a whole entire speech. I do write notes, so I make sure I cover specific points and then just kind of go off of those points. So I will say there's only one spoiler in this, and it has to do because I do refer to one of the characters who we meet in season 5. So just the character, not really. I mean, you learn a bit about the character, obviously, because it's how it relates to me, but there's no specific moment in season 5 that I spoil. So just heads up there. And obviously I will talk about him specifically, mention him specifically, and I will come to him last, who at this point you probably know who it is anyway. Yeah, because with him, it's kind of a different level that I unexpectedly relate to, and kind of just a different thing with him. So we'll start with some of the other characters. So I know I relate to one of the characters because I discovered I tend to self-sabotage sometimes in some things. I try, I'll say something and it's just because I can't feel like necessarily I always can love myself. I struggle with that. I'm not good enough. So it's a lot easier to feel that way than it is to and kind of emote love, and try to care for other people than it is to love and care for myself. So that was kind of an unexpected realization, and I kind of came to that with when I was one of the times I was away taking care of my mom, and I don't even fully remember the conversation, but we had an in-depth conversation about it, and that's where it's so hard to I guess not really accept love, but I think that's where the self-sabotage comes in, because I don't feel like I deserve anything good. And I'm working on that. People can tell you numerous times that, you like, I love you. Like, it's not anything that you bring to the table, or it's not what you do for me or something. It's just, I love you for you. And I struggle with that, and that's something I'm working on. So on to the next character. So this particular character is kind of connected to the other one, but the reason I relate to this particular character, I always try to be positive. One of the things that I'm known for is always having a smile on my face. I try to bring positive, when other people are feeling down, I try to cheer them up. I try to bring positive energy to a situation, no matter what it is. but yet I have my own internal struggles that not everybody sees, and it's very hard for me to share, and they can be very deep, and it's hard to, and I struggle, you know, and I'm also a person of faith, so that kind of I try to that type of positivity, but those questions, those where do I fit in, kind of why is this happening, that internal struggle, and that, but trying to stay positive, try not to bring anybody else down, and hope that by putting out positive energy, it'll help bring me up, and I won't feel so down, and I'll be able to remain positive too. I mean, they say smiles are infectious, so if I can make other people smile, maybe in turn that will make me smile. So, try to keep that outward appearance of positivity, and like I don't have any struggles when some of those struggles come out. It's rough. So, and then that faith, not blindly faithful, questioning, but still, that strong force that you need hope, you need to have that back, and as is said in the show too, and it's on my necklace, God isn't there to stop the bad, he gives us the strength to get through it. And that's kind of where that kind of resonated with me as well, because that's kind of, there's always that question of why do bad things happen to good people type of thing, why am I going through this when something bad happens, type of thing. And I definitely am a strong believer that my faith will help me get through those times. And, it'll just be like, okay, I may not know and that's the ultimate thing. And I've said it before to people, none of us know what's happened after we die, what's waiting for us at the end of this life. But I know for me, I choose to have, something positive, because that's what gets me through the hard times, because life is not easy. So the next character, I guess determined would be why I relate to this character. Her sense of, and looking for answers, wanting answers to puzzles, to mysteries, to questions, and just kind of knowing why. And even if I won't know those answers necessarily, still being kind of inquisitive and still wanting to know, which kind of leads into one of the other characters, not perfect example with no, it's not the next one on my list, but perfect transition here. The reason I relate to another one of the characters, how that perfectly leads into that, because, wanting to know the answers. But with one of the other characters, the childlike imagination, kind of almost wanting to see the best in everybody. I kind of, it's so hurtful, like overwhelming at times with, when I see some of the things that humans do to one another in the world. Like and I've said it before, like I literally cannot comprehend it. How people can be so cruel to each other. And I think that kind of that childlike wonder, because most children, unfortunately not all children, but most children grow up with that, and that's kind of that childlike innocence. And I think I wish all children had that, and more of us kept it as adults. Because it would just be nicer. So that's kind of how I relate feel like I relate to that character. The next one on my list, so this one is very interesting. So I think I mentioned it before, I'm the oldest sibling. So I very much, well, I don't have as many siblings as this particular character does. I definitely still relate to the feeling of being the oldest, the one, you know, there's a certain, and I don't know if it's just me, but I almost feel like I have to be the one that the younger sibling looks up to, sibling or siblings, in some people's cases. And I definitely feel like, you know, as the example, I've got to always be that example for them. Well, they're allowed to, you know, kind of run wild and do whatever. You know, I need to set that example, and I need to be responsible. You know, kind of the weight of the world on my shoulders type of thing, especially as the older sibling. So I definitely relate to this particular character a lot in that way. Yeah, there's been many times where I'm like, yeah, I know just by a look on the character's face, I'm like, I know that feeling so very well. So very well. And the character's drive to be kind, too. I mean, that's, you know, not perfect. A little clueless sometimes, but definitely driven mostly by kindness. Maybe not early on in the series. But definitely, you know, wants to do what's right and just is trying to be kind of it kind of has this idea too, like, I know I have this idea of what my parents expect of me, and I don't know necessarily why. I mean, it's not like they ever really mentioned that they expected anything of me, but for some reason I've developed this expectation from them as the older sibling, and just that it's like, okay, this is how they expect me to behave, and I feel like this character could relate to that a lot. So moving on to the next one. So this one was hard. It was, yeah, this one, some of the looks the character has given have hurt me, because I again understand how this character feels, along the lines of feeling cast off, you know, not feeling that I'm not the most important person in anybody's life, and not even the most important, but that I don't matter as much to them as they mean to me. I guess that's more the thing, that I don't matter to them as much as they mean to me. That's kind of where I struggle and where I relate to this character. You know, they always have to fight, and well, I don't feel like I have to fight physically. I feel like I'm always in an emotional fight, to be heard, to be seen, so to speak, and just no matter how hard I try, it doesn't seem like they're hearing me. People are hearing me, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting to always have to feel that you always need to fight to be heard. That no one's paying attention to what you're saying. Nobody is paying attention to what you're feeling. And that's one of my struggles just with anxiety, just trying to be open and honest, in general is hard. And I am trying, I'm getting, and not just like, it's obviously a lot easier with strangers, but with people who know me, you know, I think if they saw this video, some of them would be surprised about some of the things I'm saying here. You know, that's kind of, I think, with this character, you know, that's where I relate in that sense. You know, calling and just trying to, no, this is what I'm saying, this is how this is making me feel, and I don't feel like you're getting it. You're hearing me, but you're not hearing me. and I think that's kind of the struggle there. And then the next character. So this was an interesting one. And I think for me, where I relate to this particular character is the struggle between doing what's right and what is good, so to speak, versus kind of, and retribution is the wrong word, and revenge is not exactly, but just doing just what feels right, just like, yes, like getting like, I guess revenge, but not really revenge, so to speak, you know, just kind of doing something just because, even if it's not good, or you know, it's not your best behavior, you know, it's a little rebellious, but, you know, struggling with that, but genuinely, you know, want to always do what's good and what's right. But I mean, it's really hard in this world, and that kind of connects to a lot of the other characters and some of the things I said earlier, with that struggle, and that, you know, what with everything, with the way people treat each other, and just seeing people not acting the right way, but still not acting the right way, still getting things. And it's like, okay, well, what's the benefit? Why am I trying so hard to be so good? Why do I care so much what other people think of me? And it's not to the, definitely not to the extreme, as I said earlier, of, you know, some of the things that, you know, the attacks on people who are different in any way, you know, that just, again, I literally cannot comprehend that. But more so just, you know, again, I guess rebellious is kind of a better word for that, you know, that kind of those little, I don't know, but I mean, I never really went through, I wasn't a rebellious teenager. I mean, I talked back a little, but I didn't really do anything bad. Like, it's just been that constant, you know, and I struggle with that. It's like, I want to do that in one sense. I want to feel what it's like to rebel. I want to stay, like, as, you know, sneak out of the house, you know, but I never did that as a teenager, you know. I mean, yeah, I think the worst that I did was talk back. Yeah, that's kind of, and that internal struggle, there. So that's kind of, and I see that in this particular character. I see that struggle, wanting to do what's right, but, you know, getting that also, you know, that why should I do what's right type of thing. I don't know if I articulated that well. This could be interesting. I could get some interesting comments on this, and some interesting judgments of me on this as well too. Yeah. So moving on to the last character before I talk about the one in season 5. So the last character. So yeah, for me, you know, again with that openness, people seem to want to talk to me and tell me stuff, and, you know, and sometimes ask for advice, and usually, and then, but yet when I give advice to, whether it's because I'm older, or because I've traveled more, or I've experienced a different life than the person, we all have, they don't necessarily listen to that advice, and it's kind of frustrating, because then, going back to that feeling not heard, going back to one of the other characters, the feeling of, being ignored and not heard and having to constantly fight, and that my opinions are invalid. So people not listening, but yet still, you still get to hear what other people are going through and other people's issues, and and for me, I struggle, like, I genuinely want to help, and sometimes I can't, for whatever reason. So that's hard for that. And that kind of all leads into the final character, so the season 5 character. So stop watching if you don't want to be spoiled by one of the characters in season 5. So anyway. Okay. Just wanted to give a little time. So it's Michael. Shocker, I know. And why Michael's different than any of the characters in the sense is because, so I found it interesting that Michael brings out people's fears. And I feel like essentially, at least for me, that's what anxiety, that's at the core of it, that's what anxiety is for me. Anxiety brings out anxiety reminds me of the worst case scenario in whatever situation I'm anxious about. No matter how likely that worst case scenario is. And I think at the core of it, the reason that I have anxiety about that is the fear behind what will happen, how I'll be able to cope, what will happen, how I'll be able to cope, how things will turn out if that worst case scenario happens. That's kind of, yeah, I thought that was interesting. That was an interesting revelation this weekend, watching and learning more about Michael, which on a side note will be very interesting to try to write a recipe for him. I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't know. I mean, although on that note, the fear of writing a recipe, that kind of brings into, very interesting with Michael, so that maybe I'll be able to work that in some way. Maybe it'll be something I want to make that I've always been too afraid to try, or something like that. I don't know. But that's definitely going to be another emotional recipe for me. But that's also kind of the thing I've discovered with creating these recipes for all of these characters. It's kind of been, because I relate to them in different ways, that also comes across in the recipe. Like, each recipe is very personal to me, because not only is it what I think that they would eat or something like that, or brings out their personalities, but it also somehow, because, I mean, as any art is connected to the creator, part of me is also in each of those recipes as well. So I think that's kind of, again, where that has led to, and kind of why this particular show, over the other TV shows that I've loved, and books that I've read and movies, why this has kind of fueled those things. It's those relatable characters. It's those characters that, you can see yourself in them, and you can feel what they're feeling because you've gone through something that creates the same emotions. Maybe similar is not the right answer for some of them, but something that is relatable, something that's very similar, that would create the same type of emotions as what those characters are going through. So yeah, I mean, I didn't quite know fully what to expect from all this, but it's been something that's been on my mind for a while, and I think too with this weekend, it's kind of with the release and with all my coworkers being like, so have you seen Lucifer yet? So Jessica, Lucifer. So have you finished Lucifer yet? Because they know me so well. I guess I kind of wanted to explore why this show has brought about that response from me, why they know that show when as I said, I've watched lots of other shows. I've enjoyed lots of other shows. But why, in particular, Lucifer has seemed to struck a chord, especially with me, and why I feel so passionate about it. And yeah, because yeah, it's I can relate. I can relate to all the characters, and it's nice, even though the characters are not real. You know, the fact that obviously people had to write these characters, the writers, you know, had to, so there's also some influence there, and the actors with them. So, you know, that sense that I can't be the only one going through this stuff. If somebody else, if other people wrote these scenarios that I relate to, acted these scenarios that I relate to, then obviously I can't be the only one going through this. And that is really, really comforting. And I think that, to me, is why a show about a crime-solving devil makes sense for me. And kind of why, yeah, why I love it so much. So, and I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to hear what everybody else thinks. Yeah, kind of, I know I have heard some stories from different people about how they relate, but I mean, if you want to share as well, I don't know. Again, for me, the whole reason, you know, why I'm on social media, why I talk about my anxiety, because that sense of community, I like that sense of community, that sense of you're not alone. That's kind of, I think, the whole overarching theme of why I share what I do. So yeah, definitely, you know, and if you don't want to share, but this, you somehow relate to this, you're not alone. So yeah, thank you for listening, and for sticking out for almost 20 minutes of a somewhat prepared speech after midnight. So yeah, thanks everybody. Oops, it was actually over 30. I forgot that I stopped it partway in between. Anyway, still, thank you so much.